I never thought I could sell my artwork for thousands, but I did, and here's how I did it. My name's Taylor. I'm an artist who didn't think that their art could sell until it did. If you're new here, I'm an oil painter, a jewelry designer, and a content creator. If you were to tell me that I was an artist, a living artist, selling my own work and making a living off of it, only 6 months ago, I wouldn't have believed you. My life changed after I sold this first oil painting, and I still have to pinch myself that this is the reality that I'm living in. And if I could do it, I believe you can do it. Ever since I was a teenager, I've loved to paint, but I was kind of under the assumption that that was a pipe dream, that I couldn't actually make money and make a living being an artist. That I don't have school for being an artist, I don't have the background, so there's just no way that I could actually sell my work and have that be a reality for me. So let me go back and tell you guys the origin story of how this came to be. About 8 months ago in our old apartment, I needed a large piece of art for our place. I knew that I didn't have the budget to buy something at the scale that I wanted for our spot, but I knew I loved to paint, and I had this vision of these two swans. It actually started because I pulled an animal spirit card, which is kind of like a tarot deck. And I pulled this card, and it was the swans card. And immediately, I just fell in love with the imaging and the spirit behind swans. They're such a representation of creativity and elegance. And the vision that I had, I wanted to have deep greens and blues and the whites and creams of the swans. And I knew it would just be perfect for our apartment. So I didn't go out and get a canvas or a frame. In fact, I found a IKEA art print of, I think it was Paris, in a dumpster behind our apartment. And it was huge. It was the perfect size for what we would need in our space. And I took that out of the dumpster, brought it inside, and then I primed it so that it'd be a perfect blank canvas, and it was already framed. What could be better? I thrift almost everything I own, from clothes to home decor. So this was not unusual for me, but finding it in the dumpster outside of our apartment was. That was just like so perfect. This was just a personal project. I spent 2 days painting. I did the underpaint, and then I got the oils, which was such an investment for me just to get the oil painting itself. But I knew I was, girl math, saving so much money because I'm not buying other art. So I can put it into buying myself oil paints, and this will be the perfect piece. I never even thought that this would be a piece that I would eventually sell. Nor did I think that I could create work that other people would enjoy. Like I was saying, I just had the idea that in order to be an amazing artist, you had to dedicate your whole life to it. And I hadn't up until that point. Yes, I loved to paint, but I hadn't dedicated schooling or a lot of time to art, honestly. This project was just something that was deeply personal for me and easy to create because I knew that it's what I wanted. So the piece took me probably 3 days total, and I loved how it turned out. We ended up putting it right on this wall across from this window, so it got great light. Flash forward, we ended up moving into this new apartment a couple months later. It was perfect for our bathroom. And this is just such a crazy story because one day, this was right before TikTok was about to be banned. I was in the bathroom and I accidentally lit my robe on fire with a candle. I was in the other room. I threw my robe over the hook and the fire alarms went off. Thankfully, I got in there. I threw down the robe into the tub and was able to get the fire out, but the whole wall next to the art piece and next to where the candle was charred and still is. I need to get that fixed. I knew that I needed to get it fixed, so I ended up taking the art print out and I put it in our living room. This was the day that TikTok was being banned, so I was scrolling on TikTok for what I thought was gonna be the last time, and I saw someone just turn and show their art in a little TikTok. And right behind me was sitting the piece that I had made. And I was like, what the heck? Why not? Why don't I just make this TikTok and show my art? What do I have to lose? TikTok's about to be deleted in the next day. Like, let me shoot my shot while it's here. So I made that TikTok. I'll show it here. And it started to gain views. At this point, it's a matter of hours before TikTok is going to be deleted. And it's getting more and more views and comments. And all of the comments are people genuinely admiring my work. I just can't even put into words the love that I felt and just the shock and awe that I felt seeing people admire work that I purely made for myself that I didn't even know if anyone would like. It was just such a blessing, honestly. And then TikTok went poof. And I was like, well, you know, what a way to go out. Like, it started getting some love. That's great. Well, we all know TikTok came back in like 12 hours. And I thought that that would be the end, but the video kept getting views and it was just getting more and more love and attention. And people started asking if I would sell the piece. At first I was like, whoa, I don't know if I'd sell the piece, but maybe I should digitize this. So my first step was I brought it to a place that specializes in digitizing large form art because this was a huge painting. I want to say it was like 55 by 60 inches. It was huge. So definitely knew that I was going to need a professional to take photos of it because I wanted to have the paint strokes and all of the detail for it. If it was reproduced, I wanted them to be really high quality reproductions that people could have in their house that they're happy with. And so I right away brought it there and ended up digitizing my art. So then I started an Etsy and started a shop, basically just selling my digital works. And how I did that, I have to give 100% credit to this course that I took from my friend Mariah. She is an incredible oil painter and she made this course, which I'll link below. I want to say it's called the Print Framework. If that's not the name exactly, the link will be in my bio. But she goes through everything that you need to do from making your artwork to getting it digitized and selling on Etsy. So her as a resource was incredible for me to have because I was able to do it in a really effective way, really fast, and make really high reproductions of my work. But as the video got more and more views, I started to notice that people were reaching out, hoping to buy the actual original piece of art. And this was my baby. I mean, I think anyone that's an artist can relate with really falling in love with a piece. And I really valued that piece, not only because I thought it was visually beautiful, but also of what it represented to me. It was the beginning of this entire journey for me. And I had a hard time thinking about actually parting with it for a little bit. But in my eyes, I can create again and again. And that's the beauty of being an artist. And if this was able to set me up to actually start producing more art, and if selling my baby meant that I could invest in myself to get an easel, more oil paints, all the things that I wanted to set up to have a productive space that I felt really inspired by, that seemed like the perfect thing to do. So a lot of people ask, how did you come up with the number to price your piece? And for me, I determined the price based off the size, the medium, which was oil painting, and the personal attachment that I obviously had. When pricing pieces as an artist, not only are you thinking about the time, the energy, the planning of the piece even, you're also thinking of your overhead costs, my studio space, my materials, all of the time that I put into marketing my art. I'm a living artist, and so I want my pieces to be at a value that keeps me in a space that I'm able to keep producing art. So a lot of times people have a shell shock when they see the price of original pieces of art, but you have to factor in all of those different aspects into why it's priced the way that it is. And that can be hard when there's other places like Home Goods, Target, selling great pieces of art, but they're not supporting the actual artist, or at least not small artists most of the time. So basically I calculated how many hours I spent on this piece, which was about 30. I did 30 hours times 100, which brought me to 3,000. And then I did the materials on top of that. I was starting from fresh, so I had no material. So I spent about $600 on my first batch of materials, from paint to paint brushes to the mediums that you use to mix in, all of those different things. And then on top of that, I added the cost of the sentimental value, what I was willing to part with it for. I also looked at other artists and what other living artists are pricing their work at. If I'm also going to be an artist, I want to price my work similar to other artists so that we all can price our work what it should be priced. So after those calculations, I came to $49.50. And honestly, when I priced it at that, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna have anyone willing to pay this for my art. I don't have any other art on my page. This is my very first original art piece. Am I getting in over my head? Am I crazy for pricing it like this? But in my head, I was not willing to part with that piece for less than that price. I would have been happy to keep the piece, and even if I'm slowly having to start building my materials, all the things that I need to start being an artist, at least I have that piece for if I do want to do a larger scale art sale or post it on my website eventually. I believed deep down that that really was the value of the piece. And I do think that having confidence in your work and truly believing in the value of the piece plays a part. Pricing it at what I priced it for was a moment for me to recognize I'm worth it being priced like this. And honestly, it was way deeper than just pricing a piece of art, because it was showing myself that I am worthy of having something priced at a high value. And if there's anyone else out there that struggles with their worth and with self-doubt, I think that this is a powerful exercise in showing yourself that you value your work at a high dollar amount. It's gonna sound woo-woo, but money is really just energy. I know, but it's true. And I wanted someone that wanted to buy this piece to also appreciate it as much as I did and see the dollar value as worthy of what the piece is. And anyone that's going to be purchasing it for that value is going to love the piece. It's going to be something that they cherish for years and years to come. And if I'm not going to have the piece, I want someone that's truly going to value it to have the piece. So it also gave me peace of mind knowing that it's going to go to the right place because they value it highly as well. I had about 25 messages of people that were very interested. And some of them were thinking about it. Some of them right off the bat were like, oh, thanks, no thanks, when they saw the price, which is totally fine. Some people aren't gonna find that value, or it's not gonna be in some people's budget, which is why I wanted to digitize the work so that people that really wanted the piece, but it wasn't in their ability to buy, they were able to buy a version of it. But there was one buyer that had messaged me from the beginning, and I sent over her the message along with the other people that were interested. And she said, let me talk it over with my partner. And she was the first one to respond and say, that sounds good. In that moment, I want to just bottle up and remember forever, because it gives me chills just thinking about it. Because when I read her email saying that sounded great and like let her know what next steps were, it was euphoric. It was just such a blessing to me to see that this was actually going to happen. So she did find me from TikTok, which I really encourage. If you're an artist, do what I did. Don't be afraid of putting your work out, because who knows who's gonna see it and who's gonna resonate with it and who's gonna love it. I would have never been able to guess that this would happen. And I wouldn't even know people loved my art if I never shared it. So after that, I thankfully live in a very artistic neighborhood of Los Angeles, and I brought it over to FedEx. They were incredible. They have been so awesome. They specialize in wrapping paintings for artists. So we planned out the shipping. It had to go all the way to Alabama, so I wanted to make sure that it was perfect. And that was one lesson that I learned. The shipping alone was around $600, so I actually offered to pay for half of the shipping just because I didn't know that it would be that high. I think she would have paid for it, but I just wanted to. I was just so grateful that I had found someone that appreciated the art so much to not ask for a discount, not ask for a lower price, confidently see the worth of the painting and be happy to buy it for that value. So I wanted to split the shipping cost with her. And the rest is history. It's in Alabama now. It's over her fireplace. We still text, and I am so grateful that she has the piece. It was truly meant for her. I really can't put into words how much I learned from this experience. It was the beginning of a completely new life for me. I'm now looking into artist residencies. I'm making my own pieces. Last night I painted this one. I'm still working on a swan collection based off of that first piece. And I'm opening my books for commissions as well. I'm working on one commission right now, and I'm hoping to have my own website and get more connected into the artist industry as a whole over the next few months. I was a full-time jewelry designer, and I was making content here and there, but now I just do jewelry design by appointment, which I love. I love what I do with jewelry design. But I'm able to also do my art and share it. And I also am making content from a place that feels so authentic and so natural for me. There was so long where I didn't really know what to make on YouTube because I didn't know what I wanted to share. And now I have so much I want to share. I know not every artist wants to start YouTube or start TikTok, and that's totally okay, but this is just how I was able to share my work and get eyes on my project. So let this be my invitation to you, artist, to not let the fear of rejection keep you from trying. You can take the leap, and your dreams are not too big. Selling that piece gave me the confidence to step into this season as an artist to feel confident in calling myself an artist. I feel confident pricing my pieces. I feel confident going into commission pieces, expressing the vision that I have. And I feel confident to create from a place that is so authentic, knowing that not only is my work worth it, but so am I. So for me, I think it was a mix of right time, right place, God's plan, and finally being ready to believe in myself. If you're an artist and if you've ever sold your work, or if you're someone that's just starting their art career, and if you have any questions, please leave them below. I'd be happy to answer them for you and just connect. We gotta stick together. I wanna see your art. I wanna celebrate you and everything that you're creating. And if you like this video, let me know. I am so happy to make more, and I would love to know what you guys wanna see. If you wanna keep up with my art, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, or here on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.